Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at OKLO. It is time for another update, and on this chart we are tracking technically a simple structure where we have a 1-2 setup that has formed, and now we are looking at a third wave to the upside. So from a large time frame perspective, this is pretty basic, pretty simple. But internally, it actually gets quite more complex because we could be looking at two very different patterns where I could argue that this could be an impulse to the upside in wave 1, and in that case, we would be overall tracking the blue scenario within this third wave to the upside, where we are looking to develop something like a 5-wave structure, an impulse to the upside essentially. And in other interpretations, I could argue that this may be an A wave up, B wave down, and then here we have a C wave. And in this scenario, we would be looking at a larger leading diagonal that could be forming in this area to the upside, where it would still end up being a 5-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the larger time frame, but it would end up being formed of ABC patterns all throughout its internal subwaves. Now, in either case, I would like in this third wave to the upside to reach the ideal target for such a wave tree, and in this case it is around the $480 level, the 138.2% extension. And then in that case, I would probably need to assume that even within the yellow scenario, where this would be something like an ABC movement to the upside, it would probably end up being just an initial wave A up, because it technically within this count we might be towards a top, and there are possible ways to count this pattern where I would actually need to assume that we have already formed the top, and there is no guarantee that this is going to hold here in a correction in wave 4. It is ideal to form still another high in this area to have a more clear count. But technically I could argue that, okay, this is the wave A, this is the wave B, and then we have already completed the wave C to the upside, and now we would be heading in a larger correction in something like an ABC pattern. It's a wave B. It could have realistically any type of correction could fit within a wave B. So we won't go into details with those informations, but then we have the blue scenario, in which we probably need to consider here a double 1-2-1-2 setup, and I would be looking for a third wave to the upside in this area. For this blue scenario, I would pretty much need this white interpretation where we are looking for an additional high to work out, and we do have this area of support for such a white scenario between the $147.5 level all the way down to the $108.7 level. And it is an area, especially at the 50% retracement, where we do have quite a significant amount of support. So there are the Fibonacci levels that do provide support, not always clearly, but we do also have, in the case of the 50% retracement, quite some structural support in this area, where even if we don't necessarily work out to find the bottom here in a wave 4 correction, it may still manage to provide enough strength for a relief rally, even if it ends up still failing afterwards. But right now I am personally still preferring another low even within this wave 4. It is technically possible, I suppose, to have already bottomed, but I believe the structure within the wave 4 correction right now would look better if we had an additional at least one low, but I would probably like to see a couple of them, to be honest. Now, in this case, in the idea of the blue scenario, we would need actually quite extended push in this fifth wave, quite an extended high in this fifth wave to the upside, because we would like to reach the ideal target for a wave 3, and that would be the $305 level in this case, around that area, the 138.2% extension. And if we fail to actually get there, I will probably end up favoring the yellow interpretation. Even if we form another high, I will have lower hopes for really finding support in a follow-up wave 4, as we normally would look out for here in the blue scenario. Now, we are pretty much done with the larger time frame. All we really have to do, all I really want to provide you more than what information I already did provide you, is the idea that this does seem to be something like an A, B, C pattern developing to the downside, in which case I could see actually a few different counts, even something like an A, B, C could work out in, yeah. And in either case, I would be looking at this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, probably, then a third wave down, a fourth wave up in this area, and then a fifth wave, but then we would probably need an additional 4, 5 to have the entire wave C complete from this point. Now, it fully depends on where the wave A actually bottomed, and it isn't going to be clear to us most likely, so we will have to generally just keep an eye out for the possibility of an extension even after we would form this initial low. But the first area of resistance that I would look out for is in this idea of a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a fifth that would develop in this area. And in this case, if we go here to the 15-minute, I would be looking for the correction in this wave 4 to get to the area between the $121.7 all the way up to the 50% retracement at the $130 level. Other things that could still work out in this area are maybe an interpretation that this could have been the A wave down and then here a B wave up, and then in an ending diagonal forming here to the downside, this could have been a 1, 2, a third down, a fourth up, and then a fifth down. So this is why I cannot say that if we break above the 50% retracement in this case, I would have a pretty good clarity, I would see a pretty good chance that we have already bottomed within the wave 4 in white. So yeah, we are going to track this in the green interpretation and watch out also for such a resistance area, for such an interpretation, in which case it would start from the $124 level and it would go all the way up to the $143 level at the 61.8% retracement. Now, if we actually manage to break above that level, it would be a pretty good sign, yeah, for the strength of this chart, for the strength of the movement that has been forming from the current low that we have here in the current local low in the wave 4. But yeah, we are still quite far away from that. Right now, both interpretations that would suggest additional lows are still possible. And yeah, there isn't really much else to add. I would personally, again, I'm watching the 50% retracement here, a very, very relevant level. Also, the support, the structural support area that we have here, also very important. We could find a low very easily in this area, and if not, again, a relief rally is very likely. And for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.